It's your boy Dave. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly, or I should change my microphone device. Yeah, how you guys doing? Let's talk about Buhari's threat yesterday. In case you're new to the game, you don't know what's going on. Buhari promised. I wanted to use threats, but then at the same time, it's also a promise. Buhari promised to speak to IPOB or deal, not even speak, to deal with IPOB in the language you understand. Guys, let me know if my volume is low. Is my voice low? That has been something that has been plaguing me on this channel. Is my voice low? Let me know if I should switch my microphone device. And bear with me, I'm trying to fix something. Oh, it's okay. All right, thanks. That's amazing. Okay, so yesterday Buhari tweeted on his handle that he's going to deal with um, some criminal elements. Okay, so I feel it's, from the context of the whole article, is referring probably to the IPOB, not IPOB, but the Eastern issues happening in the states in the East. Okay, and they said very soon that those people will get the shock of their lives. They said people destroying government facilities want his government to fail. So very soon they're going to be shocked. Buhari that has been experiencing shock all the time. Buhari will say anything, but the presidency has expressed shock over the missing 30 billion naira funds. The presidency has been experiencing shock over the economic situation. This time around, it's Buhari that want to give the shock. He has finished experiencing, he want to give shock. He said people that want his government to fail, that they're going to get the shock of their lives. Then he also made reference to the Biafran war. Said he didn't call it Biafran, we call it 1967, that they witnessed 30 months of what I don't know, carnage, whatever they witnessed in 30 months, that the people that are born now did not witness it. So he's going to show them something like that, more like he's going to bring 1967 back, so that those people will experience it and stop agitating and stuff. Tweeted it. Initially, I was like, why would anybody tweet this on the president's handle? In fact, former aide to governor of Kano State, that one came out and said for the first time, he said, why would somebody tweet this and put on the president's handle? Why would somebody tweet it? But then this morning I actually saw the video. So it was a conference meeting, probably like a security conference or whatever, where Buhari himself said it. So it's not that somebody grabbed his Twitter and started tweeting. He actually said it. You understand? And then his social media handler now put it on social media. You get what I'm saying? So then this morning I saw videos of trucks of soldiers. Let me say, the trucks of soldiers I saw was like at least 20 trucks. But the way it was extending all the way down the road, it might be up to 50 trucks. So I'm estimating hundreds of soldiers, since each truck can carry about 5-10 soldiers. So if you multiply by 20, you're getting about 200 soldiers. So multiply by 50. So about hundreds of soldiers on a road. And they kept shouting and gingering themselves, let's go there, let's this, that. So they are being deployed to somewhere. Now, it's not obvious whether they are being deployed to the east or the west or whatever. But this video is coming out hours after Buhari said that. So nobody knows whether Buhari has started to do what he is, the shock. He said he's going to shock people, or he's still going to do it in the coming days. So, but also, like last week, a video trended where some soldiers were being deployed again. And one of the soldiers that had a camera was saying, anybody you see there a bandit, oh, don't forget, anybody you see there a bandit, whether father, mother, uncle, auntie. I don't know if you guys saw that video. A soldier was saying that. You know what that means? It's genocide. And I would expect normally that the military should investigate, find the soldier that said that, and bring him to court, martial him, let him explain what he's saying, because it's bad conduct, you know. So, but so far, we've not heard anything. Whether they're court-martialing him or not, or whether they even ignore the whole thing, I don't know. So, but from the accent, you know that this is Nigerian soldier. Then, let's look at the issue in the East. Don't forget to share this video, okay? Don't forget to share this video. And like, there's a thumbs up icon. Like it. Okay, so let's look at, when you talk about issues in the East. Yeah. So when you talk about issues in the East, once it gets to issues pertaining Eastern states or Eastern region, let me not say Eastern states, Eastern region, mostly Igbos. Okay, so you need to understand the geography of Nigeria and geography of Biafra that caused the 1967 war. In geographical terms, there's something called Eastern region. This region involves a number of tribes in the East. Remember that before the war, there was no states per se. You understand? What you had was regions. So that Eastern region wanted to pull out. Okay, so Ojukwu had his war council. Now, triggering the war was that, you know, they banned, Nigeria does not have an official account of the Biafran war. Every country has an official account of their wars. You know, you go to their military archives, you read exactly what happened, but Nigeria does not have an official one. That's what I'm told. Don't know how true that is. There's no official account. And two, it's not being taught in schools. You're supposed to teach people what happened in war in school so that they can avoid the future one. You know, but when you don't teach it, people are bound to repeat the same mistakes. And some people might take advantage of what happened and miseducate the new ones coming up. And those ones will make mistakes, you know, repeat the mistake or even make a worse mistake. So you educate people on each war, but Nigeria does not have one. I think probably because most of the people that fought that war are still alive. You know, some documentaries might implicate them, some actual detailing of what happened. So what you notice is that people from other parts of the country don't really know what happened in Biafran war. During that war, 1967, Nigeria was still very heavily dependent on agriculture. So the average Nigerian then had a farm. So if there is something wrong in the economy of the country, they will not feel it. If you like, fight for 3 years somewhere, full-scale war, they will not feel it. But the way Nigeria is connected now, things have changed. Agriculture is now being practiced on a large scale by certain people. The average Nigerian now is a worker, is doing work, going to sell something in the market if they are uneducated, providing services like artisan services, or some educated middle-class person earning salary by working in offices. What that means is if there's a war again, it go shock everybody. You understand? All those offices, banks, things will shut down massively. It will affect everybody. It's because the economy is now more interconnected. So now it's not 1967. Then another thing you notice is that those people that were in other parts of the country when the East was at war, many people in the East think that Biafran war happened in the whole Nigeria. Cross enter Benue. Biafran will not even touch Benue. You understand? Yes, it got to Ore. Past Edo got to Ore because when the war started, Ojukwu wanted to capture Lagos. Lagos was the capital. You know? Ojukwu took some Biafran battalions and tried to charge straight, you know, and capture Lagos. Because if he captured Lagos, he will now be able to force Nigeria to negotiate. And in place of getting back Lagos, Nigeria will now allow Biafra to go. But being a bad soldier, when you say Ojukwu is a bad soldier, so many IPOB people want to attack me. He's not a good soldier. Biafran war was his first war. He has never been in the battlefield. So he fought the war very wrong. Very, very wrong. I'm not talking about his motives for fighting the war. Two different things. I'm not commenting on his motives for fighting the war. I'm talking about his military tactics and strategy. It was wrong because Ojukwu was more like an academician. He never fought a war. That was his first. So he tried to capture Lagos. On paper, that sounded smart from Biafran perspective. Let's capture Lagos. These people will allow us to go because now we have the capital. But when he got to Ore, the resistance was too much. By the time he could get past Edo and everything, enter Ondo, get into Ore, the Nigerian army Nigerian army did something smart, which is attack him from two sides. They cut through from Kogi State and tried to cut his behind. If you know the map of Nigeria, they cut into Edo also, into Delta. Since Biafran army was moving towards Lagos, they attacked them from behind. Now attack them from front, which is Lagos. Those two attacks meant that Ojukwu had to pull back immediately, otherwise he would be encircled and wiped out. So he started pulling back. In fact, he pulled back so fast that he abandoned entire battalions of Biafran soldiers. Thousands of them, he abandoned them for his first squad to be able to pull back because the other one had to stay fighting Nigerian army at Ore. So those ones that were fighting, after Ojukwu was able to pull back into Biafra land, he now gave the order that they should withdraw. Now withdrawal became an issue. As they were withdrawing, they started running into the ones that were cutting off from them and behind. So when many of them got to Delta states, they knew that they have arrived Igbo land because a large part of Delta is Igbo, Anioma, Aniocha, Igbo speaking. Let me put it that way because I'll come to that. A number of people from these places, even though they speak Igbo, they are traditionally Igbo, they don't believe they are Igbos. I will come to that. So when these Biafran soldiers arrived there, they knew that they were now in Igbo land. They just needed to escape and cross the river at Onitsha and enter Anambra proper. So they started dropping their weapons, changing into civilian clothes. They would walk into random families in the towns and villages and tell them, look, we are soldiers, or we're running back. Please, what is the road to get to the next town? Those families will give them food, water, and everything, and encourage them to keep moving. But many of them were caught at Asaba. So the Nigerian army was waiting for them at Asaba. So that was one of the things that caused the Asaba massacre. Over 700 people were killed in Asaba. So Ojukwu was like, you see, if we don't fight till end, these people will always kill us when they capture us. If they capture us, they're supposed to arrest us. But once they capture you, they kill you. So you have to fight till end. So that massacre at Asaba was what really ignited that war seriously. Because now, it was easy for Ojukwu to convince the average Nigerian town that, look, these people have already massacred people in Asaba. If you don't fight, when they come here, they're going to massacre you. At least put up a fight. So it was easy. That massacre was very negative publicity. So now you know that these people were able to get to Asaba within the first few weeks of the war. Now Asaba is an Igbo town, Igbo speaking town in Delta. So what did most Igbos in those outskirts did? They fell first. So what they did was like, hey, look, we're not Igbos. Oh, yes, we speak Igbo. Who cares? It's not what we actually speak is not Igbo because Igbo has thousands of dialects. If you can speak one dialect of Igbo, you can understand a majority of the other dialects at once. For some of them, you need to stay a little or live with them before you pick up the dialects. So, Matthew Chinedu, I'm just... Yeah. So, I'm giving you guys some history that many people don't even know, So, some Igbo-speaking towns on the outskirts of Biafra, like if you're not, once you pass Benue, you start seeing Enugu, start seeing Ebonyi State. So, close to that border, you see a lot of Igbo towns. Kogi, there are a lot of Igbo towns in Kogi. Edo, there are some Igbo towns in Edo. Go and look at the map. Then you see Delta. A large part of Delta is Igbo. So when Ojukwu had his military council, um, war council, to decide to declare war was on May 27th, 1967. Gowon got the news that, oh, these people want to declare war. He decided to weaken them. So he did a very smart military strategy. On that May 27th, he created some states in the east. That was the day he created the Cross River State. There was nothing like Cross River State before. What you had there were towns. Till today, if you go to Cross River, almost every town speaks a different language. Am I lying? Every town completely different. So there are many tribes there. Gowon created Cross River. If you look at Cross River, if you're passing Igbo land and you want to enter Cameroon, Cross River is the last state you will see before you enter Cameroon. So Gowon created that state so that Biafra will be, not Biafra now, but Igbos will be trapped. The reason he's doing that is that Igbos are the main fighting force of Biafra. When it comes to Biafra, there are so many tribes. This is the old eastern region, but the Igbo-speaking tribes are the highest numbering, and Ojukwu came from one of those Igbo-speaking tribes. So what Gowon did was to find out the non-Igbo-speaking tribes and create them out as a state. So on that 1967 May 27, Gowon created Cross River State. Not just that, he created Rivers State. Rivers State is at the bottom of Nigeria. Once you pass rivers, you enter Atlantic Ocean. You know, now there are so many tribes in River State that are Igbo. So many, in fact, majority. That's why I understand that it's majority, so I might be wrong. But that's one of the reasons why their governors keep answering Igbo names. Nyesom Wike. Okay, Ezemo. Ezemo is his middle name or something. Amechi. You know, these are Igbo names. So a large part of Rivers was Igbo. Okay, but then there are some other major tribes in River State too. So Gowon created that. Why did he create that? He wanted to make sure that Igbos are landlocked. You understand? So it will not be an Igbo state, it's landlocked. So quickly, Gowon did something smart, and before you know it, Igbos were encircled, and then states were created around it. Now, there's somebody called Isaac Boro, Adaka. Isaac Boro. He was the first to start agitating for independence of Niger Delta, from what I read. Okay, if I'm wrong on any of these history facts, you let me know. Like I told you, there's no official account of all these things. You just have to read. So Isaac Boro started campaigning for independence of his tribes. It's like they wanted to pull out. You know, these things were happening just about 6 years after the whites left us. The British left us in 1960. Biafran War was 1967, just about 6-7 years. So immediately the British left, some tribes figured that, man, let's just leave this country once and for all. It's never going to be good to us. Why did they do amalgamation? We don't want to do amalgamation. Let us pull out once and for all and become our own independent nation. Now you need to understand that around 1957, it was the Northerners that wanted to pull out. History is interesting. Today, the Northerners don't want Nigeria to break. But in that 1957, before the independence, few years, the Northerners wanted to pull out. They said they don't want Nigeria again. Guess who didn't want them to pull out? Nnamdi Azikiwe. An Igbo person, Nnamdi Azikiwe, started threatening the Northerners, telling them there will be dire consequences if they pull out. This was still when the British was ruling Nigeria, but they were already starting to hand over their to African governments. If you know, 1960, 1961, the British granted independence to many African countries, many at once. So you could say that our independence in Nigeria was not 100% as a result of the agitation within Nigeria. It was more like the colonial powers deciding that we have to change strategy with the way we handle these people. More like that. So, but when that time there were agitations, Awolowo them, Nnamdi Azikiwe there, I think Ahmad Bello or so, there are many people that were prominent campaigning for that. When it was about to come, Some people were opposing it. So there's a woman in Oyo State, I've forgotten, I think her name is Aduni or something, I've forgotten. She founded a political party, and the name of the political party in Yoruba translates to "Don't let the white man go." She didn't want the whites to go. She wanted them to stay because she was raised in a white family. She's a Yoruba. She was a house help in a white family. So she now founded a political party, and somehow she believed that she was, from what I feel, one way to explain it, that she believed that if the whites stay, she's going to get political positions. But if they leave, she will not have a chance. So she was campaigning against it. Another explanation is that the official explanation she gave was that she didn't trust the Nigerian leaders at that time. If these white people leave, the people they are going to hand over, that they are greedy, they are selfish, if they hand over to them, they will finish Nigeria. You know, some people believe she was right in that prediction. So, but she died in 1957, 1958, a year later after founding that party. That was how her own agitation ended. So Nnamdi Azikiwe didn't want the North to leave. You know, the North felt that Nigeria was improper, that their people were not ready. Nnamdi Azikiwe said was threatening. So eventually, when the British wanted to hand over power, it turned out that the Igbos did not get enough power. And then when Ojukwu, okay, now, there was a time that Nzogu, if you look at the map of Biafra, Nzogu comes from a place that some people now, even though they are Igbo speaking and Igbo tribes, they now say that they are not Igbos. You know, it doesn't come from core Igbo states. You know, so some of those people from those areas, outskirts, the reason they say they are not Igbo is so that that was in 1967 when they were being overrun by Nigerian military. They started denying that they are not Igbo. Now they are new generation now coming out. They'll be saying Igbos like to agitate about Biafra. Igbos like to agitate. We are not Igbos. I said, but Oga, your name is Igbo. You are speaking Igbo. Your grandfathers are Igbo. Like what? Your ancestors are Igbo. Your lineage is Igbo. How come you are denying? It's because many of them don't know that the Biafran war was actually triggered from people from their place. Go and check where Kaduna Nzogu came from. Now, when Nzogu did that coup, Ojukwu actually arrested him. Ojukwu was the eastern governor. He arrested him, and then Agui Ironsi got into power because he wasn't part of the coup. He just got into power and became his a military head. Now, that was when Isaac Boro figured out that, oh, there's problem in Nigeria. This is our best time to agitate for our own independence. Isaac Boro was the first to actually actively agitate for independence. So Ojukwu, being the governor of Eastern region, discovered that a part of his territory wanted to break out, and they have already picked up arms. So he assembled soldiers and they fought. In fact, about 108 or 180 of Isaac Boro soldiers were killed. That was the first war of independence post Nigeria independence. Many people don't know. It was Niger Delta that started it. Ojukwu captured Isaac Boro and jailed him. Now, he didn't just jail him. You know, Nigeria was shaky then because there was a coup that killed a lot of northerners. Even though the Nzogu, he planned to not just kill northerners. He wanted to do that thing Jerry Rawlings did in Ghana. But that was before Jerry Rawlings did it. He wanted to kill all top politicians, clean Nigeria and start Nigeria fresh. That was what he wanted to do. But then his other compatriots betrayed him. So he was the one that manned the one in the north. He killed a lot of northern big heads. Now, what of the ones in the west? He was betrayed. His people that were supposed to kill the ones in the west did not kill them. What of the ones in the east? They did not kill the ones in the east too. So the whole thing got messed up. Something he wanted to do did not work again, and he was not even a top ranking. He was not the topmost ranking military officer. I don't even know what he was thinking. So now Agui Ironsi is there. Isaac Boro was agitating. He was captured and arrested. Military style, they court-martialed him and scheduled him for execution straight up. It was in that process that the northerners did a counter coup, killed Agui Ironsi, and released Isaac Boro. And nobody knows on the times he was released. But Isaac Boro coming out decided that Niger Delta no longer wants to leave. They now want to stay in Nigeria. So as Ojukwu was declaring Biafra, they said they are not part of Biafra. They no longer want independence. Biafra, Nigeria should fight Biafra. And they did it, he did it to teach Ojukwu a lesson because like he just finished a war with Ojukwu and within 2 or 3 months he was released or something like that. Isaac Boro. So I'm reading the comments. If I'm mixing anything up, feel free to correct because this will be what do you call it? This is gonna be interactive. So let me read some comments just to be sure I'm not. Yes, Flix said the fact that you speak and answer a particular name does not make you that tribe. True, very true. Like me, I answer English name doesn't make me English. Very true. So yeah, people during that queue, Flix post said people were killed in the west. That is true, but mostly people were not killed in the east. There was internal betrayal in that queue that some elements that were marked for killing in the east for that Nzogu queue were not killed. You know, so that made it look like a one-sided queue. Okay, so now Isaac Boro said this was somebody that was just campaigning for independence of his people few months ago. Just because the table turned, it was like perfect that he's no longer fighting for independence, that they now want to stay in Nigeria to teach Ojukwu a lesson. So because of that, Niger Delta stayed. If I call it Niger Delta, these are new names that was brought after the war. So, but that his area, you know, stayed Nigerian during that war. Because of that, Biafra was landlocked. You get. So it became a very difficult war for Ojukwu to fight, because if he had access to the ocean, he would have been able to ship number one, civilians out. Because during war, you want your civilians to be funneled out of the area so that soldiers will fight themselves. After the war, civilians can come back. It's happening in Syria now. As they're fighting, Syrians are putting their civilians in ships and sending them to different parts of the world, including America. Under Obama, over 500,000 civilians were coming into America per year from Syria. You get? So that's how it is. At the end, Biafra was landlocked, became a problem for Ojukwu. The war became impossible. They couldn't cross, civilians couldn't cross out into Cameroon because there's now cross river, and now that cross river did not take effect. Ojukwu, Gowon created it 2 days before Ojukwu declared the Biafran war, but it did not become a state proper until after the war. But you need to know that some tribes in Cross River fought on Nigerian side, some tribes fought on Biafran side. So as this Biafran civilians were crossing from core Biafran, let me not say core Biafran, core Igbo speaking states, due to war, they wanted to run into Cameroon to avoid the war. When they got to Cross River, they had to find the tribes that were fighting on Nigerian side and avoid them and go with the ones that fight on Biafran side so that they can enter Cameroon. But when they got to Cameroon border, they got a shock of their life. It turned out that Gowon had gone to strike a deal with Cameroonians that, from what I understand, is supposed to be that he'll grant them a piece of land, all right, if they will agree to lock that border. Gowon did not want the civilians to leave, okay? Wanted to trap them, okay? And then he also doesn't want weapons to flow into Biafra from that side. So he blocked it. That was those Cameroonians blocked. So Biafran civilians were trapped. Millions of them died. Some people say 2 million, some say 3, some say 5 million people died. Just out of starvation alone. Food was not flowing in. Just hunger alone killed millions. The actual Biafran soldiers that died is about 30 to 50,000. Not much. The actual Biafran soldiers. The actual Nigerian soldiers that died is just about equal, that number. But the civilians that died in Biafra, millions, starvation, and hunger keep people past. You get? Now, today, Cameroon has taken that piece of land Gowon gave them, and now that portion of Cameroon also speaks English. That portion of Cameroon today, as I'm speaking to you, is fighting for their own independence. Now, the French-speaking part of Cameroon has attacked them and now displaced many of them. So many of the civilians are now coming back into Nigeria as refugees. The same people that blocked border in 1967 for civilians to go. You see, no matter what kind of war is happening, you don't block refugees. You get what I'm saying? Because you don't know how it's going to turn out for you tomorrow. You don't block civilians that are unarmed. You don't block them from escaping. So, but that was how it happened. Now, the Niger Delta today, the questions are, is it better off now than it would have been if Isaac Boro had, like alternative scenario, Isaac Boro comes out from jail where he was scheduled for death sentence under Guerrilla, and he meets with Ojukwu, and Ojukwu says, we are declaring Biafra, your states, your not state now, those states are not states, your tribes are part of the old eastern region, so we're declaring it as Biafra. And as Boro says, okay, this is what I wanted before. I even wanted an independent state. Okay, we fight together. If Isaac Boro had joined, would Ojukwu had stood a better chance of winning? You know, let's say he joined and Ojukwu won. Would Niger Delta be better as part of old eastern region than they are now as part of Nigeria? You get what I'm saying? Another alternative scenario, Isaac Boro joins Ojukwu, wins Biafra, and decides that we also want to be our own country. Let's have a referendum so that we too can break out and become our own country. Now, many people thought Biafra was landlocked. That's not true. Biafra was not fully landlocked because the second in command under Ojukwu was not an Igbo man, it was an Akwa Ibom man, Philip Effiong. Akwa Ibom has a border with Atlantic Ocean. You understand? Philip Effiong fought, Akwa Ibom fought under Biafra. You know? And actually, the person that surrendered was Philip Effiong. At the end of the war, Ojukwu ran away. You know, he escaped. After 2 weeks, Philip Effiong could not contact him again. He now realized that it's either he has escaped or he's missing. Philip Effiong now contacted Gowon and said, we're tired of fighting. We want to surrender. So Akwa Ibom, so when people tell you that Biafra then was landlocked, that's not true. Even though that was what Gowon tried to achieve. But Akwa Ibom had a border with the Atlantic Ocean. Now, if you look at somebody's asking why is Obibo in River State? Cool. If you look at the map of River State, you see that it's extending, entering, I think it's Anambra, all the way up. So Gowon tried, in fact, some people say historically that place is not called Port Harcourt before. It used to be called Iguacha, which is Igbo land, an Igbo word for an Igbo town. That's what they used to call it, Iguacha. That's what some people say. So at the end of the day, it was a complex scenario then, and you can start understanding why Isaac Boro was against Ojukwu, to the point that he fought against his own original intentions, which was to pull out. You know, just to punish Ojukwu, he decided to compromise his own and his people's original intention. And 180 of his soldiers died just to get their own country. But when tables turned around, he turned against Ojukwu, and now they are still part of Nigeria. Biafra also failed because of a number of things, including Isaac Boro's efforts, you know. So these are some of the historical questions we have to ask. Now, remember I started on how the North wanted to pull out initially and things changed, turned around. So if you look at the history of Nigeria, what is happening is that any tribe in power would want to keep the country together. One Nigeria, one Nigeria. But once they feel that they are out of power, marginalized, boom, protests will start. We want to leave, we want to leave, we want to leave. Don't be surprised tomorrow. You know, hypothetical scenario. An Igbo man wins presidency of Nigeria. The North might start saying they want to leave. Let's say an Igbo man wins president of Nigeria and appoints Igbo, all security heads, Igbo, all these NPA, Igbo, customs head, Igbo, everything, put Igbo man everywhere. At the end, don't be surprised that the North will start campaigning for Republic of Northern States or Republic of Arewa, whatever. Seriously, even pick up arms. You're gonna be surprised. That this is how Nigerian history has been going. Many people don't know. Any tribe that gets into power wants to hold it together. So, but you need to know that it's not actually the tribes. These are leaders. Leaders can be doing something different from what their subjects are doing or think. For instance, in the East today, the average Eastern man, and let me not say average Eastern man, the average IPOB person does not believe in Nigeria. And IPOB has membership reaching up, from my own estimation, from videos I'm seeing their protest, 5 to 10 million people. You know, the way you know that that is that look at the compliance, stay-at-home order. The whole Eastern states shut down, even River State. You know, people were I was seeing video from River State, everywhere was empty. People stayed indoors. To tell you that there's a sense of nationalism, very high sense of nationalism there. But is it the same with what their governors are doing? No. Their governors want one Nigeria. So that's why they are inviting soldiers and policemen to quell those riots and fish out IPOB members and whatever ESN, you know. Go to Obibo in River State. Look at what Wike did to them. Trying to crush them in terms of the agitation. So that a head of state appears from a tribe and wants to keep Nigeria one doesn't mean necessarily that that's what his own people would have wanted if they got their chance. So today, for the first time in history, people have started agitating for the Yoruba nation. Yorubas used to be one nation ruled by several different kings in several areas. There used to be a Alaafin of Oyo, different Obas in different locations, you know. But for the first time in history, Yorubas are now agitating. Some Yorubas, many others don't believe that, like the whole IPOB. Some people think that the whole East is IPOB. No. There are people in the East that don't believe in Biafra. Many Igbos, core Igbos, born and brought up in, they don't believe in Biafra. Many are 100% against IPOB. In fact, there was one that was posting that if anybody knows where IPOB keeps their weapons, he should tell him. So you personally go and report them. Many Igbos are attacking Nnamdi Kanu. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if you come to the West, you see Sunday Igboho campaigning for Yoruba nation. Many Yorubas are actively against that. Like, somebody is campaigning for your own independence. You're against it. It's happening. For cogent reasons, some flimsy reasons, some Stockholm syndrome. You get? So for many people, just know that in every location you go, you will see people that are for and against. So that's why people do referendum when they want to create their own nation. That referendum is like a vote. That vote is, let us know how many of us want to pull out versus how many of us want to stay. In that referendum, if the people that want to stay are more, then that is the end of that agitation. You get? But if the people that want to leave are more, then it's a unanimous decision. A good example is a place called Bosnia. Bosnia is neighboring country to Croatia. These people have been under bondage for thousands of years. They have been under bondage. Different militaries come there, conquer them, and rule them for hundreds of years and go. So the last one that happened was from Turkey. There is an empire in Turkey called Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire invaded them, conquered them, and ruled them for 400 years. During that, at the end of that 400 years, the Christian part, many of them converted to Islam because Ottoman Empire is Muslim. But the neighboring country is called Serbia. Serbia practices Christianity. So overflowing into Bosnia and Herzegovina was some Serbian tribes. Just like if you come to Nigeria now, the west is Yoruba, but if you cross the border, you start seeing some Yoruba towns in Benin Republic. Okay, so Serbia is Christian. So there are some Serbia towns in Bosnia that were conquered by the Ottoman and being ruled. So those Serbian towns felt that because the Ottoman, one of their sultans came up and started doing affecting policies that the Christians felt that was detrimental to them, that put their that they had to fight, otherwise they'll be wiped out. So they started fighting. After fighting for independence for 45 years, so many of them were killed. The Ottoman was doing everything possible to wipe out, to stamp out the agitation. They killed so many of them, massacres, everything. 45 years, work. The Ottoman Empire, a whole mighty empire, gave up. Part of the reason that they gave up was that they were already involved in another war with Russia somewhere else. They couldn't handle everything. So when they gave up, instead of granting them their independence, they did not grant, they handed them over to another colonial master that was neighboring. The neighboring country was Hungary, Austria-Hungary. That's what they used to call that country. Hungary, Austria-Hungary was one country before. They said, okay, you guys, it's just like, let's say the British wanted to leave Nigeria. And they said, okay, Cameroonians, let us hand over colonial mastership to you people. You people should come and start ruling Nigeria. Instead of giving Nigeria independence, that's how it looked like. You get? So they handed over to Austria-Hungary. The Austria-Hungary brought their military immediately. They want to use iron hand, crush out the revolution, anywhere, massacre villages, force people to stop agitating and everything. That was when the main agitation now started. But it started in such a way that it was no longer open confrontation because the Austrian military was very powerful, and they were doing everything to claim their new territory. The Bosnians, you know what they did? They started assassination programs. They would target any Austrian. In fact, the way the assassination was going was not coordinated. Any Austrian um, um, official that they see or that is close to them anywhere, both in Austria itself, in the country, so many Bosnians were taken away there for labor. And some of them they just like going to Canada, so they look at it as a better country, so they go there to work. Some of them, they were there to work. They started targeting Austrian officials there and assassinating them. Sorry. So they were assassinating them. Even though many of the assassinations failed because the killers were not trained. They were just people out of a sense of nationalism. They just wanted to fight back for what is being done by Austrians to their people at home. They were killing a lot of them. So, but one of such killings was now what triggered the First World War. An Austrian archduke hired to the throne. He was visiting Bosnia, his conquered territory. They have given you new land. You want to visit it with his wife. He didn't know that some Bosnians have planned to assassinate him. One person shot him and shot his wife dead. Immediately, Austria as a country vexed and traced and saw that the person that assassinated the person was a Serbian. Remember, it was the Serbians in Bosnia, the Serbian tribe in Bosnia, that's a Christian tribe, was the one that pursued away the Ottomans. Now they brought Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary is also Christian. You need to understand. So Christian minority was now fighting Christian colonial masters. They now killed one of their princes, top princes. As they killed them, Austria now discovered that one of the killers is actually Serbian, and it was sponsored by the neighboring country Serbia. So they now sent message to Serbia, gave them conditions. You must do this. You must, these are conditions to force them to apologize for the whole thing. Serbia actually has arrested the assassins, executed some of them. It was just a small ring of assassins that executed that thing, killed some of them and everything. But Austria was not happy convinced with that. They now assembled an army and decided to go to war with Serbia. Serbia was ready ever since now. They assembled their own army. As they want to fight, Russia started supporting Serbia. So Russia started amassing troops to back up Serbia in that Hungary war. Germany saw what was happening. Germany declared war on Russia. That was how the First World War started. In that war, about 10% of Bosnians died. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Let me read some comments. So Bishop said they were eliminated by the combined Nigerian army and the Cameroonian government. Jordan police. They are the one who killed the Biafran refugees, and they claimed those people were the Biafran army. Yeah, during that Biafran war, when those refugees were marching on the roads, they will carry their properties. Go to YouTube and stuff, you will see them. They will carry their properties on their head and they will be trekking, if you see distance, across 5-6 states to get to Cameroon and escape. On that road there, fighter jets will lower and start shooting them. Drop bombs on civilians going. And then when they got to Cameroon, some stories, these are stories that we hear from hearsay, not official, people that actually did it and people that their parents took that journey. They are the ones that told the story. If you're in the East, you'll be hearing such stories from families that were affected. So now Cameroon is fighting war now. The French government does not want the English-speaking part to go. That English-speaking part is the one that shut the border against the Biafrans then. The whole tables have turned. But one more important thing that happened last month was that English-speaking part that was fighting for their independence, despite what they did to Biafrans in 1967, they have reached out to IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, that is agitating for Biafra, apologized and demanded that there should be a coalition, an alliance between Biafra agitators and Ambazonia agitators. They want to call their new country Ambazonia. So Nnamdi Kanu accepted. So they have buried their hatchets now and they want to work together. So Bishop said Gowon gave Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon government before the war. Bakassi was in complete control of Nigerian government. It has never been in dispute until Gowon signed off Bakassi to Cameroon. Yeah, that was the piece of land I was telling you people. Somebody said, go to war, go to the north, Temple. Say, go to the north and see what your oil money is doing in their development, and go to your Niger Delta states and see the on development. I don't even want to carry this discussion towards that side. All right. I don't want to carry this discussion towards that side, but if you're in any area, you should reassess what's going on in the area. So I just want to give a brief history of what's going down in different parts of the country and how it has happened over the years. So even though some of the things I'm saying here is shocking some people, that there were times Igbos were for one Nigeria. Okay, so now what is Nigeria? Nigeria was created by a British administrator called Lord Lugard, and his girlfriend named the country. How did he come to become an administrator of Nigeria? They invaded Nigeria. It was a military conquest invasion and merged it into one country. Now we are learning to live together. We're learning to live together. And living together is not easy. Tribes that are neighboring, they knew how to live together for thousands of years. There are several parts of Nigeria that go to Jos. There's a place called Nok. They dug up artifacts, clay pots and everything that these people used for 4,000 years. 2,000 years before Jesus was born. 1,000 years before David in the Bible was born. These people were living there. So they have learned how to live with their neighboring towns and everything. But if you pick people from another part of the country that they have not found their terms of relationship, it's going to be hard for them to live together. So that's part of the problem we are facing in the country. We have not been living together before like this. This is just since 1960 that this problem started. So a lot of living together terms and conditions, we are still figuring it out. You get? So back to business. So now Biafran war is over. The Igbos lost. It was not an Igbo war. So it's not just Igbos that lost. Many tribes in the east that formed the old eastern region lost the war. So a lot of people from Cross River, a lot of people from Akwa Ibom, a lot of people from different parts of the old eastern region lost that war. So today, it has got to, we continued as Nigeria. Let me shock some people. When Ojukwu wanted to declare Biafra and everything, one of the persons that was going around campaigning for an independent eastern region was actually Nnamdi Azikiwe. The same Nnamdi Azikiwe that didn't want the North to pull out, wanted one Nigeria. He briefly campaigned for Biafra, but when the war started and went like a year, he switched back again. He turned back again and started campaigning for one Nigeria. So Ojukwu declared him a saboteur, that he was sabotaging the war. How can you be in the middle of the war and you're campaigning against your own people? So till tomorrow, if you go to the east, they consider Nnamdi Azikiwe as a saboteur because he switched his stance on the war in the middle of the war. Many people don't know that. So many people think it's an Igbo war. Yeah, I'm seeing someone in the comments saying it. It was not an Igbo war. The thing is that Igbo is the majority ethnic tribe in the east. So if you assemble 100 Biafran soldiers, you might be surprised that 70 of them might be Igbo speaking. Do you know that the Ojukwu that fought the war to secede eventually turned around after the war to campaign for presidency of Nigeria? This one go shock some people. Ojukwu wanted to become president of Nigeria. He actually registered a political party and campaigned to become president of Nigeria. Can you imagine? Somebody that led a war for 3 years trying to secede, he turned around. That means you believe in Nigeria. And what was he even thinking for that campaign? What was he thinking? That people that know that you fought against them for 3 years will give you presidency so that you do what? So you split it or what? What would, let's say Ojukwu won. I think he got like 150,000 votes total. But let's say he won. What would he have done? Would he have kept Nigeria one, or would he have disintegrated it, or what? Like, what was his aim of contesting that election? So Ewenuge Vandis wrote, "We South fought against you Igbos because of your oppression against we the South." Now, when I started this video, I was trying to explain that it was not an oppression. It was a disagreement between Ojukwu and Isaac Boro. Ojukwu and Isaac Boro are dead now. So if there's anything that's going to happen between Igbos and the South, it has to be on fresh grounds. I gave an example with what happened in Ambazonia. The Cameroonians were against Biafrans, but now they have made peace. They have apologized for that thing they did to Biafran civilians. They have made peace. So you can't be carrying malice from Ojukwu and Isaac Boro had malice. They fought. They fought war. Ojukwu crushed Isaac Boro's war for independence. You understand? So, yeah, back to the point I was making. Ojukwu led the war to declare independence of old eastern region. After that, after the war, he turned back and contested for Nigerian presidency. Oh boy. So the reason I'm pointing this out is that even if you go to the east, people respect Ojukwu a lot, but it doesn't mean that they agree with everything he did. A lot of people were against Ojukwu contesting. Oh boy, what are you doing? You know? And that's one thing in the east. There's no single superpower. People will only take the good things you have done. Once you start straying away, you know, they ignore you. So Isaac Boro had a misunderstanding with Ojukwu, and they fought a war. Ojukwu was a governor. Isaac Boro wanted to pull out and form an independent country out of the region Ojukwu was ruling. Ojukwu brought army, and Isaac Boro brought army, and they fought. And Ojukwu defeated him, and then captured Isaac Boro and arrested him. And Ojukwu did not do that directly. It was his president, which was his superior in command, which was Agitation, that ordered him to crush that revolution. So people of modern non-Igbo, this was not non-Igbo speaking tribes of Niger Delta, you know. You can't be carrying that malice between two people. Here's an example of what's happening. Somebody founded movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta MEND, which is Asari Dokubo. After the Biafran war, he wanted to set Niger Delta free again. He carried on from what Boro did. It did not work for a lot of reasons. Number one, Niger Delta does not have the manpower to break out of Nigeria. If the Igbos and Biafra as a whole could not do it, how can tiny Niger Delta effect it? You get what I'm saying? It's difficult. It's an impossible task. He tried everything. He shot, destroyed oil pipelines, everything. At the end, he has calmed down now. But what he has done now, he said that he's now part of Biafra. He's now leading his own Biafra. It's almost like he renamed that MEND movement to be Biafra. If you doubt what I'm saying, just go to Google Asari Dokubo Biafra. So Asari Dokubo believes that, so the way they have IPOB is being led by Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB agitation is for independence of Biafra. It's like a political party. The way you have APC in Nigeria, PDP in Nigeria. So IPOB in the East. There is also another what do you call it? An agitation association that is agitating. It's called MASOB. It was founded by another person called Wazirike. This guy is also an Igbo person. Now, what of the ones that are not founded by Igbos? Asari Dokubo has founded his own and is still campaigning for the emancipation of Biafra. It's no longer a Niger Delta thing. So it's like looking like now is the time that he has figured out that you can't, no matter how much you don't want to work with Igbos, you can't get your independence without working with Igbos. It is what it is. Even the Igbos that tried, it did not work. They did not have the manpower to effect it, not to talk of Niger Delta. So we can't be carrying malice from 50 years ago between two top leaders that are now dead. We can't be carrying their malice into now. So anything that wants to happen now has to be on fresh grounds. Let us look at our terms. If Nigerian government decides one day that all these 10 regions should go, there should be a referendum. In that referendum, Niger Delta should vote. Biafra should vote. Should Niger Delta be part of Biafra or not? Niger Delta will do their own referendum and determine if they want to pull out. Let them go. Period. You can't be forcing people to stay in where they don't want to stay. You get? But as long as you don't work with certain people, some of your goals will not be achieved. I'm reading comments. Thanks for this information now. I know why the betrayed runs in 98% of Sivo Sly. Okay, so one thing you have to do is you don't run ethnic based comments, derogatory comments on people, because see, let me tell you, everybody is biased, prejudiced. As you are growing up, your parents kind of drum some prejudice into your head with respect to other tribes. They will tell you, if you are going east, they'll tell you Yorubas are always this, they always do this, they always do that. They'll tell you Hausas are always this, Fulanis are always that. You know, what else? Urobos are always this, are always that. Even if you come within certain towns, they will tell you Ondo people will tell you Ekiti State people are always this one always that. These are ethnic prejudice. It's low IQ. You know, it's low IQ. You don't judge people based on tribe. You can't say, for instance, Fulanis are evil people. It's prejudice. You understand? Because if you go to Fulani land, you'll see good people, you'll see bad people. Matter of fact, the bad people might be fewer. It might just be a handful of leaders. If you go to Igbos, you will see good people, you see bad people. Matter of fact, the average person on the street is not your enemy. They're just looking for food and bread to eat. You get what I'm saying? Your enemy is that person in the position of power that is making policies, that is making it impossible for that person on the street to find food. So when you talk about bad people in any tribe, it's usually few. You get what I'm saying? It's usually few people. Go and check it. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you want to make an ethnic-based derogatory comment or conclusive comment, just know that you're doing something really dumb. If you say Yorubas are betrayers, wrong. You don't say things like that. If somebody betrayed you in any business deal, call out the person. Don't throw a blanket statement. That's dumb. Igbos are, I don't know the ones they say about Igbos. Igbos are this. That's wrong. You understand? Like now, I was saying that I was just pointing out that Ojukwu led the war. Fine, he led the war only to come out and revise again and start contesting for presidency in Nigeria. Why would you contest for presidency? And Ojukwu is not the first that did it. I talked about how the North wanted to pull out initially, only to realize that 3 years later, when Nigeria was given independence, that they were put in power, they were like, oh, okay, no, we're not pulling out again, we're staying. One Nigeria, everybody. You get what I'm saying? Niger Delta wanted to pull out, but when they met with unfortunately, the government in power then was an Igbo government. And the Igbo government does not want to give them, and Nigeria was very rowdy there. It does not want to give them that independence. They picked up arms and they fought with who? Turned out to be Ojukwu, because Ojukwu was Eastern governor then. You know? At the end, they had to drop their ambition and support one Nigeria. Within months, they switch. We did not say Niger Deltas don't know what they want. That's blanket statement. Don't ever make that blanket statement. In any tribal discussion anywhere, don't make that blanket statement. Unless you are doing it for a good reason. You understand? For instance, if you say Fulani ladies are beautiful, fine, but don't do it for a negative thing. So, Johannes said, am I Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba? I'm Italian. Buongiorno, Johannes. Yeah, Chidani TV, I greet you too, my brother. Okay, so let's continue. So this is how these things are going. So let's look at the IPOB issue. All right. So I'm not a security operative or a government official, so government accounts might be different due to a lot of things, especially the information they have at their disposal. I'm not an IPOB member too. Matter of fact, some of their things I don't fully agree with some of their things. But let's look at the issue. So Nnamdi Kanu was initially campaigning for one Nigeria. It will shock you. There is a video on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search Nnamdi Kanu campaigning for one Nigeria, you see a situation where there was I don't know what happened. I think there was a corruption case or a case of violence, insecurity. So people in London decided to hold a rally to campaign against that. Nnamdi Kanu was one of the persons that was interviewed. It was like, some people want to break Nigeria. We cannot allow that to happen. This, that. Only to realize later and turn around and say that, hey, we can't just be part, this country cannot work with us together. You have to allow us to go. All these 10 regions, let it go. Remember that Ojukwu did not start out campaigning for Biafra. What he started out doing was he tried to get Gowon to create a situation in which the regions are more independent. He wanted restructuring. That was what Ojukwu initially wanted. So they agreed in Aburi. They call it Aburi Accord. They agreed in Aburi. Only for Gowon to come back and switch, according to Ojukwu. Or Gowon came back and turned around on the agreement, said they're not doing it again. Ojukwu said, okay, if you're not restructuring, then we're pulling out as our own independent nation. Gowon said, you are not pulling out. You are staying part of Nigeria, whether you like it or not. That was how the war started. So now, guess what is happening? West Southern governors are campaigning for restructuring, both the West and the East and the South side. Everybody's asking for restructure. Why are they asking for restructuring? They strongly believe that the way it is structured now is not going to work. The regions have to be independent. That's what they believe. Guess who is not campaigning for restructuring? The Northerners, Northern governors. They're not campaigning for restructuring. So now the latest thing we're hearing is constitutional review. It's like they want to review constitution. So that was the meeting that Ahmed Gulak went to do in Imo State. They said that there was an Imo State constitutional review meeting. It's like, I don't understand how it works. Lawyers, you can tell us, but it's looking like each state will have to do an internal meeting, decide what they want change in the constitution, then they will send delegates to the national. I think that's what wants to happen. I'm not fully sure. So, but Gulak went to Imo State for that. That's the title of the meeting he went to attend. before he was assassinated on his way out. You know, that didn't look like a very clean political assassination. You know, it doesn't look like random unknown gunmen that bomb police stations track him down. How can he be moving without security? A man of that stature, you're moving without security. Okay, he was driving to the airport. What is he going to do with the car? Will he just park it at the airport like that and just go like that? You know, I know people do that, but just for short trips. So a lot of things have question mark on that his assassination. Hopefully the police will unravel it soon. So the way Nigeria has been so far is when a certain tribe, who remembers when Yoruba was in power, there was a time that Obasanjo was the president of Nigeria for 8 years. There was no Oduduwa agitation then. It was one Nigeria, one Nigeria. In fact, when OPC wanted to do one thing, Obasanjo ordered shoot at sight at OPC. The video is still on YouTube where Obasanjo said, if you see any OPC, shoot them. You get, Obasanjo tried to cross. So OPC is like IPOB today. You know, it's like IPOB today. Obasanjo crushed them. Now, a Yoruba man is no longer in power. There is now agitation for the Oduduwa nation. So that's the way Nigeria is structured. When people get in power, they will not want to break it. They want to keep it the way it is. Until we get to that point where it's either everybody wants to stay or we tell ourselves the truth and everybody wants to go. We go jejely. Some people was asking, why did Brexit leave European Union peacefully? Why was it why did they have a peaceful referendum? Why didn't European Union send soldiers to force them to stay and start shooting them and call them unknown gunmen and stuff? The reason is that England has 180 nuclear stockpile warheads. You know what is nuclear war? If they drop one, it wipe out one state. In fact, it's more now. They say that the nuclear warhead now, you know, the one they dropped in Hiroshima in 1945, 1944, Hiroshima. The one they dropped there wiped out the whole Hiroshima. They dropped another one in Nagasaki 3 days later, wiped out the whole Nagasaki. Entire state, pew, vanished. One bomb. They said the bombs they have now is 1,000 times more powerful than that one. So if they drop one, half of your country, now multiply by 180, and the country that has 180 of these say they want to pull out and you're not giving them peaceful referendum. The result will shock you. You get what I'm saying? The result may shock you. That's why there was a peaceful referendum there. So I think there is a new crop of Nigerians growing up. This crop of Nigerians did not witness that war. And two, they are more educated. Three, they have social media. Social media makes it possible for one person with the right idea or wrong idea to be able to broadcast it to a lot of people. So government is no longer fully in control of information. That's why you are hearing social media regulation. You know, no matter how they look at it, it's tough because you might regulate social media in 2020, 21, and then in 2024, it turned out that the government is now from another tribe. Now you can no longer voice out against the government because you are the one that regulated it. So it's a difficult thing to regulate. So social media makes the average person in that village to get the right or wrong information from somebody in the US. So somebody in the US that did PhD history or whatever politics that has the right idea can communicate to his own people directly over in the internet. Say this is the right thing people should do. You get what I'm saying? So we are getting to that point in the next, 10, 20 years, where a completely new set of Nigerians come out. And then they start taking the right steps in terms of Nigeria, you know, making the right policies in terms of Nigeria. These people will be like, because everybody is now educated on what is happening currently, unlike our parents. Most of the things that happened in 1970s, 80s, 90s, our parents did not know. All they knew is whatever they hear on radio. And that radio one is already doctored. But now there is an entire generation of Nigerians that will eventually get into politics in 10, 20 years' time. And I believe these people will take much better decisions than the current politicians we have now. You get much, much better decisions. If they want to do referendum, it's gonna be what do you call it? It's gonna be peaceful. You know, if they want to do constitutional review, it's gonna be peaceful and smart. If you look at US Constitution, you see very intelligent things that were done there. Very intelligent. You'll be like, oh, is this why? Like when you look at the Electoral College, initially it looks like a stupid idea, but then when you think about, when you read about why they came up with it, you'll be like, wow, this is actually smart. So Nigeria is getting to that point. Now, Mary Gold said, why did Gulak went to Imo for constitutional review? Is he from Southeast? They know what happened to him. Exactly. That's the question everybody's asking. But why did you leave Taraba State? He's from Taraba, but I think he's based in Abuja, and go to Imo for constitutional review. You need to know that Gulak was the leader that facilitated the last Imo State election. So he has a stake in the state in one way or the other. Okay, so Sivo is asking me which police will unravel it. Bro, I don't know the way things are going, man. I don't know. So Flix Post TV is giving me more information. You guys should be giving me more information. If I say something you feel is not 100% correct, correct me in the comments, all right? I'll read it. He said, when OBJ was president, there was agitation for Odua nation, but there was cries for restructuring. I think Yoruba have always called for that, even now. Yoruba elites want restructuring. Like, the whole restructuring thing is now obvious to everybody. Do you know that last month was the first time in history that southern governors met together? These southern governors are Yoruba, Edo, Igbo, and South came together in one meeting and presented themselves as one body. First time in history. There has been Northern Governors Forum ever since, but this is the first time. What does it tell you? That there is a certain consciousness that has come up. These people have recognized a problem that they feel that they cannot solve individually. If they did Western Governors Forum, if we no carry weight, if they did the Middle Belt, there's the one I'm hearing, Bendel Lights Governors Forum, South Governors Forum, what else? Southeast Governor, you know, go work. You know, they realize that unless we come together like this, we can't solve this problem. That's what I'm saying. Somebody was saying South against Igbos, or Igbos are against South. These things are those days, 50 years ago, when they fought for that war, because of conditions they found themselves. They had to do what they had to do. You know, no side was wrong. But this is modern time. You have to realize that many things you want cannot be done separately. You have to come together. Agree on terms first within yourself. How do we come together? This, whatever you're agitating for, if you people get it, what is our own stance there? Rotational presidency. Can we have a constitution where every tenure, one person rules from your side, the next tenure, it must be somebody from our side? It can be in the constitution. You know, next election, you people should just come down. Let us do the election and choose our own presidency. The next election, you people should do. Or when this thing comes, we'll do our referendum and decide whether we want to join you people or not. All these things have to be. So let me read more comments. Messi said, you're doing well, my brother, with the educative information. This struggle needs guys like you. But please remain resolute and remain focused. Thanks for the prayers, man. Send me money. It's money that I need. Remain money. And remain money. Yeah, send me money. Okay, somebody said that I'm looking for the Sowore comment. Flix Post said, anyone who said Yorubas are betrayers are dumb, really dumb. Yorubas have always stood for other tribes to the extent of dying for them. Fajuyi died because he was protecting Aguyirons. Yes, Fajuyi died. There is another person that escaped. The day they killed Aguyirons, one of them ran and jumped the fence. They shot him. He took bullet wounds, escaped. So, okay, yeah, I've seen the Sowore comment. Messi Sit said, It is just like what Sowore is going through now. If tomorrow he decides to seek something else, some ignorant people will accuse him of being unpatriotic. Very true, very true. Sowore has been trying. The only reason I feel that Showore's, he called for protest on the 12th of this month, which is, what's today's date? I know no date again, no. Okay, in 10 days, Sowore called for national protest, and they have published list of 12 demands. One of that is that the food prices must drop. People are asking for basic things. Food prices must drop. That one has turned to protest demand. You know, but why Showore's agitations and protests have not picked up very largely. Many people agree with 90%, 99%. Personally, for me, I agree with 99% of what he's saying. But one day I saw a video where he said that Nigeria does not need restructuring. That was when I know, oh, I don't fully agree with Sowore. It's on YouTube. Google Sowore on restructuring. Sowore said Nigeria does not need restructuring, that what we need is a good man to get into power and solve problems. The problem with Nigeria is that the way it's structured, no matter how good you are, even if you're a pastor, we don't get pastor there, we'll get pastor there now. Even if you're a pastor, the way the structure is, you can't do much that is different from what your predecessor has done. You can only do worse. If you're going worse, but if you want to do better, it becomes an uphill task. Is the structure. We need to create structure that checkmates, more checkmates. We have to add more checkmates into the constitution. You know? So that's what many people believe, and that's what the southern governors are saying now. We're demanding constitutional reform. You get? So imagine that Sowore is against that. It doesn't make sense. Unless he has changed his stance, and honestly, I want him to change his stance on that. You know? I think that's where his weakest point is with respect to that. But he has been consistent since how many? 1991 or so. This guy has been campaigning for a better Nigeria since when he was in school, 21 years. Can you imagine? You know? Can you imagine? So let me see comments. There is strength in unity. Why will Gulak went to him? Okay, yeah, I think I've read that. So that's the things happening now. Now in the East, Nnamdi Kanu started IPOB and they were protesting. And here is the IPOB narrative. Like I told, the government narrative might be different, but IPOB narrative is that they have been peaceful. They have always been doing their peaceful protest and everything, but then security forces will shoot them. In fact, there's one article on Amnesty International with that if you Google it now, Amnesty International, 150 IPOB peaceful IPOB members shot during protests. Google it, you'll see it. So Amnesty International said at some point that 150 on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type IPOB members being shot. You'll see the video of that report where they were protesting in, I think it's a football field. They got shot. Many of them got killed. So finally, if you go to the East, according to IPOB, that there are too many police checkpoints. Every street corner has a police checkpoint. And you know, normally when there's police checkpoint like that in Nigeria, there's always taxing. They'll be taxing the road users, collecting, from road users. So that's what IPOB is saying, that they don't want those police checkpoints again. On that ground, they started attacking police checkpoints to force them to vacate the streets. So when people think about unknown government, what is unknown government about unknown government? Why are they attacking only police stations? This is what I feel is the root cause. Because I heard one Nnamdi Kanu speech where he was explaining that. He said, why are there so many checkpoints in the East for decades? This is not just a recent thing. For decades, every little corner like this, police checkpoint, they are collecting money. In fact, if you go to Twitter and search, you will see where somebody uploaded a video and say that the police there were collecting 3,000 naira per bike. How much does a bike man make per day? Why would he collect 3,000? But these are allegations from IPOB perspective, from Nnamdi Kanu. So they started attacking the police checkpoints. That was how the thing started multiplying. Before you know it, the police is mobilizing to stop the attack, only to realize that it's not a one village or one town thing. You get? It has become a thing of so many several different towns. So where would you want to deploy? Even the soldiers they are sending now, where are they going to deploy the soldiers? You know, which state? You send soldiers to one state, there's an attack in the next state. Will you now start mobilizing them to that place? Before they reach there, there's another attack in another state. So why is it happening? Because those IPOB members, there are many. I told you they're up to 5-10 million. There are many. And they're all in different states. Some people think it's an Igbo thing. No. There are attacks happening in Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom people, they don't speak Igbo. They are not Igbos. No, never was Igbos. But they believe in Biafra. So when Nnamdi Kanu says, we're attacking police stations, in fact, the way he put it, if I remember, he said, any policeman that they see on that comes out on the street to collect anything or put road checkpoints is dead. That if you don't want to die, don't put a roadblock or checkpoint again. It's either you put checkpoints in the whole Nigeria or you remove the one in the east. Let the east be normal with every other place. After he said that, oh boy, attacks started happening everywhere. There are attacks in Akwa Ibom. You try to curb the one in Akwa Ibom. There's an attack in Abia State. You want to stop the one in Abia State. There's one in Imo. You send military helicopter fighter jet in Imo. Boom, there's one in Enugu. Before you finish the one in Enugu, there's one in Ebonyi State. It's crazy, man. River State. Wike said IPOB cannot operate in River State. That week alone, 2 police stations went down. It's crazy. It's crazy. So what's the solution to all these things? Some governors have said that they have spoken with Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu said that some governors spoke to him and he gave them their terms and conditions that they did not get back to him. Like he met them physically, face to face. You know, so there was a time Dave Uma, he told him, I think it was in 2014 or so, told him that he should not dare cross Ebonyi State, that if he comes to Ebonyi State, he'll be dead. Nnamdi Kanu led a protest. It's still on YouTube. The video is still there. Over, from my estimation, 10,000 IPOB members. They were chanting all these their song. Nnamdi Kanu is our savior. You know, these people are very dogmatic about the way they follow him. They were working on the express. So the governor puts police checkpoints on the express to prevent them. These people, Nnamdi Kanu was in front leading them. He walked through the police checkpoints. You know, police no get option again. They had to leave them to pass. They were chanting their, they were not armed though, but they are in their thousands. If you see where IPOB they protest here, they are like ants, like the whole city on lockdown. Hundreds of thousands of youths wearing all these their color, red and black, hundreds of thousands. So when you think about what the police is fighting in the East, you will see that it's not just a ragtag, random, let us kill 1,500 people, these people will stop. Even if you kill 5,000 people, you get, their numbers are still very much. We're not even talking about the ones all over the world. Yesterday, one was calling Nnamdi Kanu on this their radio call and was saying that they are ready to donate funds. They should give them they want to send money to support. So some people don't understand what's going on. It's really, really huge. What's going on? What the police is fighting there is a behemoth. You know? So apart from fighting, they should also look at negotiation table. You know? They should look at negotiations. You know? Apart from fighting and negotiation, they should look at the root cause of the problem. What is the key issue that you guys are facing? Why are you burning police stations? You know, get their leaders, explain to us. Reach out to Nnamdi Kanu. People, if random people can call him on live, I believe police in Nigeria can reach out to him. Oga, why are you sending your boys to cause havoc? You know, police checkpoint. Okay, this is why we put police checkpoints in place. If this is what you're complaining about, let us see how we can resolve it. You know, things like that can stem the situation there beyond fire for fire violence. Because the more this fire for fire violence is going, the more it's approaching what everybody is scared of, which is the war. You know, Buhari has already threatened yesterday, made reference to that war. For Buhari to mention it, you know that that's what everybody is thinking. That this thing is approaching a point where there will be this war thing. You get? So there has to be dialogue. Even Yaradua did it with Niger Delta. Yaradua sent Jonathan. Say, go and speak to your people. What are you telling me? Jonathan snapped pictures where he was going to the creeks, where them dangerous Avengers and militants are. But they recognize him as their man. They gave him their demands. He resolved it and the whole thing died down. You get what I'm saying? So there has to be dialogue too. Starting from the governors of those southeastern states, you have to call the people and say, what is the challenge? You get? How do we solve it? Like this ESN thing, Western governors formed Amotekun. For what? To combat the herdsmen crisis that is happening in villages. What did Eastern governors do? They did not do anything. The thing continued until Nnamdi Kanu came and said, okay, we are going to pick up arms and form ESN to protect our farmlands. ESN became the equivalent of Amotekun. If you remember that ESN video, how many people did you see in that field? They released, within a week or two, they released about 3 videos of 3 different training camps, very large football field like this. You see 5 to 10,000 young men in black and black doing marching. Their Eastern Security Network doing marching. So that is what the military is confronting in the East now. You see? They are too much in number. It's not something you can achieve with lots of violence. Their numbers are too much. You get? Their numbers are too many. So governors have to approach them. I've seen governors taking, like Dave Umahi yesterday of Ebonyi State. Day before yesterday, he said that when they wanted to observe their what do you call it, sit at home, instead of the governor to ignore the thing, like some governors, like that Enugu governor, he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. You know, nobody will notice if you don't say anything. He said that the Ebonyi State governor said that if you protest, if you stay at home and don't go to shop that day, that you forfeit your shop. He said that, only to later revise it late at night when he realized that, man, could work. I saw publication that he later revised it. Guess what? The whole Southeast complied. The whole town, villages complied. It's massive to show you the kind of support or control Nnamdi Kanu has now. The numbers are too much. It's no longer things you will be forming hard man. You have to dialogue in your state. Send your people to reach out to them. Come to the security dialogue table. You know, ESN people, why did you establish ESN? What's the challenge? Okay, you can't do it without me as governor. Okay, me as governor, this is how I will come in. You must be constitutional. This is how we're going to do it. You know, as opposed to forming a Bubago. You know, despite the formation of a Bubago, do you know that on 30th, 31st, which is yesterday, that should be, oh, yesterday is not 31st, the day before yesterday. Do you know that Fulani herdsmen killed over 50 people in Ebonyi State, a place called Izzi? The video is on Twitter. Go to Twitter, type Izzi, I-Z-Z-I. Maybe I got it. Izzi. Ebonyi State. If you see the video, they cut off some, they dismember some people, cut off some legs, cut off some hand, use gun, finish some people. 50. It's crazy, man. You know? That means the security network they have there is not effective yet. It's not yet effective, because if it's effective, that thing cannot be happening like that. So a lot of dialogue needs to go into what's going on in the East, a lot of dialogue. And what happens with this kind of thing is that the longer it drags, the more other tribes will pick up arms. You don't understand what's happening. That EndSARS dragged. If you notice that EndSARS, as it was dragging, the thing was picking up momentum. As it was dragging, it was picking up momentum. And what was that momentum is picking up? It means that finally, when you want to put an end to it, it becomes more difficult. You know, that tollgate incident kind of stopped the protest itself. It didn't solve the actual problem. Because as the thing was dragging, the average man in the streets was starting to understand what is the campaign about. You know, it happened then. Initially, thugs were attacking protesters. Who remembers? Who remembered? Thugs were attacking protesters. People were protesting. They would come with stones and knife and attack them. But as the weeks went by or the days went by, the actual reason for the protest was now communicated to them. Oh boy, those thugs stormed the police stations. They started attacking police. The same hey, oh boy. The same thugs started attacking police stations and destroying government institutions. That was when this attacking of police stations started. It's not IPOB in the East that started it. You remember? No, that'll be last year the thing happened. The whole attacking of police stations did not start with those IPOB or ESN or whatever, unknown government in the East. It started during EndSARS. The moment the street touts figured out what the protest was about, they joined. They started trying to attempt to free their people in prisons. How many prisons were released? Edo prison, they attacked the Ikoyi prison, they did not succeed. A number of prisons. Because the thugs were like, okay, finally there's chaos. Oh boy, all those are guys where they arrest. No, go blow the prison, release them. So the more that issue in the East now is dragging, the more other tribes are looking at it and be like, okay, this is where these people recorded success. This is where they did not succeed. Let us do our own and follow their path to success and avoid their path to failure. So government needs to address the issue urgently. It's actually an urgent issue. They need to do everything possible to address it. You know, address it properly, not just through violence. You have to call them to the table. What is the root cause of the problem? You address the root cause of the problem. Police chief needs to approach them too and relate with them. Guys, what is the problem? These attacks are too much. You know, relate with us. That dialogue has to happen. You know, because the numbers there are too much. And you know, when the number is too much, is you don't know who is who. It's just like when America was in Afghanistan. America has pulled out of Afghanistan. If you read the history of Afghanistan, they keep getting invaded by superpowers. After some years, the superpower will give up and leave. Why? Afghanistan does guerrilla warfare. Once you invade their country, it's easy. You just carry your army, you enter Afghanistan. Even Ghana can invade Afghanistan. carry your soldiers, enter Afghanistan. Fine. Where you have problem is being able to keep them subdued. Once you put your soldiers in the streets, even woman where they sweep streets like this, if you use that broom, choke you, kill you, before you turn, you don't kill himself. You understand? Go and read. 3 times Afghanistan defeated the British forces and drove them out of Afghanistan. 3 times Britain invaded, 3 times they were driven out. Go and Google it. Within 100 years, Britain invaded Afghanistan 3 times. Each of the time, they will come in, conquer some cities, put their government, boom, revolution will start. Everywhere Afghanistan see a British officer and die. You know, everywhere. Every time, go and Google it. Go to Google, type British Afghan War. Britain is in, sorry, I think I'm old now. Britain is in Afghanistan now, right now as we speak, under NATO, 4th time. Guess what? The Americans they came with have pulled out. I was reading in the news today that they want to hand over an airport that they built, military airport. They want to hand it over to the Afghan government. They are going out. They spent 20 years in Afghanistan. Since Osama attacked that World Trade Center, they invaded Afghanistan. After 20 years, they don't tire. They're pulling out their soldiers now, handing over everything, pulling out. Why? Because Afghanistan can never allow you to stay in peace. Once you are ruling them, any Afghanistani anywhere is a threat to your life. Even the one that is protecting you, and that one will even pay you for night. Now they are pulling out. The only world power that have not invaded Afghanistan in recent times is China. In the olden days, they were invaded by Chinese, Mongols. The Mongol warriors, go and Google it. About 1,000 years ago, they invaded Afghanistan. Same thing. They had to pull out. Alexander the Great invaded Afghanistan. Same thing. After every state has to pull out. You know, different empires, because those guys know the hear word. You know, that their revolution is usually a people's revolution. And they don't mind how many of them die. Oh. See, in that war, 20 years, within that 20 years, you know how many American soldiers that died? It was 2,000. Just 2,000 American soldiers. But guess how many Afghanistani citizens that died? About 250,000. Out of that 250,000 was 70,000 civilians, at least. All of them are civilian, but normally people will be innocent civilian passes by collateral damage, at least 70,000. So can you compare 250,000 deaths of Afghanistan to only 2,000 American deaths after 20 years? But guess who gave up? It was the Americans. Why? Because the Afghanistans have the population. They can carry on that war for another 100 years because they have the population. It's you that is invading that has smaller force that will suffer. You'll be spending your money, your resources to fight people. They don't care about money. The average Afghanistan, they don't send money. You know, they just want to pray, live, eat, and fight. So what the position US adopted now is dialogue. They have called the Taliban's back and started negotiation. The Taliban, they have been fighting for 20 years. They called them back and they're now doing negotiation. What is the cost of the war? What do you want? Okay, we can do this, but we'll not do this. We'll allow you to do that, but we cannot do that. At the end, we want to move out. That's the level Afghanistan is in now as we speak. US have pulled out most of their forces. So when problems like this are arising in any country, it's best to treat it immediately. You know, that time a few police stations were burnt. Approach them immediately. What is the problem? What's your challenge? You know? So now Buhari has promised that they will be shocked. The last time this kind of promise happened was during a day or two before Lekki toll gate. Who remembered? Even Tinubu had to open Twitter account and tweet that day. The following day, they were shooting. Who else? Obasanjo tweeted. You know, several people started tweeting different things. You know, shortly, a day or two before that Lekki toll gate shooting. To me, that's what I feel now, that we're in that kind of situation again. As Buhari tweeted this thing, he said something is about to happen, mentioning something is about to happen. Now, the thing is that thing can always happen. What is the after effect? What will happen after that? Remember, the protest in Lekki died down because the people that were protesting were not armed. But the situation in the east is a little different. These people are armed. And they're not just armed, they have targets. So the soldiers can do anything, but what of the politicians? What of the local chiefs? What of the kings? Can they survive it? The population might attack them. And it's already happening. Let me tell you one thing. Look, in Zamfara state, I read last week that some people, the villagers attacked an emir's palace and burnt it. Why did they burn it? They don't believe that he's doing enough because of the insecurity. They burnt his palace. They now went and blocked the highway. Police went there and arrested some of them, at least 14 of them. The news I saw this morning from China's TV is that the governor of Zamfara has gone to the police to tell them to implement shoot at sight. Why? Because it's looking like there's an uprising. You know, riots, protests over insecurity is rising. So he's trying to quell that. In Niger Delta, the ex-governor of River State, when Gowon created River State, the first person he made governor, I think he's the first person. They called him Alfred. Spiff. So I think he's the first military governor. Not sure, not sure. But he was an ex-governor of River State. His people attacked his palace. I showed that video the other day. Who remembers? Attacked his palace, burnt it down, burnt his cars, burnt everything. They first used stick and stone, break everything in the compound, then set it on fire. Why? They had some agitations and they didn't trust the efforts of the king. You know, the king is the first person that the first point of call. When the people have issues, they walk to their king. They are not convinced of his efforts. If they say they have not had light in a long while, electricity, they say that there are some contractors in their town that were not paid. You know, things like that. You get? They burnt his palace down. Another one happened yesterday. I made the video. Somebody called, or is it Ogba, K.O. Ogba or something? Chief. This guy is very rich. He built a mansion, I think in Abia. Built a mansion, built a car, had a lot of cars. Expensive, these are cars of 50, 100 million naira in his compound. According to the story, he was fixing solar panel. So his community believed that he's fixing camera to track them. And they are like, police and army is in our land killing us. And you're fixing camera to track us more. You mad? Oh boy, they stormed the place, burnt everything, looted and burnt everything to ashes, everything. You know, whether he was actually installing a real camera or whether it's just a solar panel, who knows? It's not really relevant to the discussion. What's relevant, what's important is that the community are now hostile to political authorities. Once they pass that barrier, there's another burning of somebody in the House of Representatives. They just saw his car, they set it on fire. They don't say nothing. Oh God. Hey, his village people saw his car, they set it on fire. They don't say whether he's doing his work at the House of Rep or not. They set his car on fire. You know, it is coming to a point where politicians can no longer safely go back to their own hometown because the people now see them as the enemy. So the advice I was giving that yesterday in that video, I don't know how many of you watch my videos, turn on the notification so you'll not be missing my video. I was saying that these people need to be seen. If you're a leader in a community, you need to be seen as helping the community. You can no longer isolate yourself. You can't come in the middle of a very wretched community and put up a mansion. You know, that's bullshit, man. The people who attack you, that EndSARS protest taught people something, that if they come in masses, no amount of security agencies will stop them. So those normal 2 mobile policemen or 4 policemen or 8 policemen in hillocks that you move around with, if the whole community attack you once, they cannot save you. That's what happened in EndSARS. People learned in EndSARS. They will storm, what do you call it, a palliative center. Police will be there shooting some people. They no send. They want call people go they fall. Bullet go they chop some people. More crowd is gathering. At the point, police have to tear it. They will go tear the place down, loot it. So at the end, what you notice is that Nigeria is changing. The average man in the street, their mentality is changing. And as the economy is getting bad for them, that animalistic tendency of I no longer care, you know, when somebody no longer cares about their life, can't predict what they can do, is gradually rising. So there a lot of things need to be addressed urgently. And if you're in power, your people need to see you as one of them. If you're going to build a 100 million naira mansion, why not cut it out? Cut out 80 million. Build an 80 million naira mansion. Use 20 million to build 3 to 5 houses for other people in the community. You get what I'm saying? Find other people in the community, change their life, build house for them. In Nigeria now with 7 million naira, you can build 3-bedroom flats or so. By the time you use 20 million, you can build 3 or 4 or 5 around the community. You know, when they want to attack you, those people you built the houses for will be the one to defend you. You get? If there's no light in your community, you have to go with your people to NEPA, to governor, to this, to that. Your people need to see you as part of the people that worked for their light. Even if light never come, they will no longer be jealous that you have electricity. Now, if you have electricity in your own place, you have to connect the rest of your street or town to your own electricity. You get what I'm saying? There are people that have bought transformers. Akin Alabi, that is in Senate now. He buys transformers for the communities under his this thing. You know, nobody will go and cut his light any day there is no light. Why? Because they know that this our transformer, he was the one that bought it. This other one, he was the one that bought it. There's no light now, it's not his fault, it's never. You know, that kind of thing. Instead of you buying 5 expensive cars that are worth over 50 million naira each, why not buy 4? Use that last 50 million naira and get 20 cars for people in your community. Nobody will ever attack you. Get 2 million naira car for 20 people. You know, tell them to enter Uber with it. Dash them. Take. Nobody will attack you. Nobody. So those days that you go abroad, you make all the money in the world, you come and build mansion in your community, everybody's suffering, is gone. One day, if it shock you, palliative looting. Those villagers are passing in front of your house, they're going to see your house as palliative. They'll be looking at which day can we get an excuse to loot this house? Make this man just miss young one day. You know? His Majesty, hello, how are you doing? No, Bishop, I did not retract your comments. I've not retracted any comments here. No. Bishop, I never retracted any comments. There are some comments I will not read. Of course, there are some I may eventually delete because they are not censored, but I've not censored anyone so far. I am Jimmy says I should read his comments. Let me check. I am Jimmy, where's your comment? I am Jimmy. I can't see your comment though. What happened? Somebody said the root cause of Biafran problems is very essential, but nobody is reasoning towards that direction. Dele said, what negotiations? IPOB want nothing less than Biafra. For this to stop, Nigeria must stop marginalizing the Igbo. That's what Dele said. Okay. Ebuka Israel said, Buhari administration. Okay. There are some things I will not read. There are some comments I will not read. Blessing said, okay. Bishop, I never retracted your comment, okay? Okay, Afro Niger has said this. So let's see how they resolve it, but just know that what's happening in the east now is going to a danger. Sorry, let me clear my throat. What's happening is going to endanger a lot more people from my own perspective, especially those local chiefs, chieftains, local rich men, politicians, you know, and it's different. This is different from protests because these guys are now armed. They get guns, you know, people that have guns. They have guns now. It's different. So saying that you have police or your place is next to a police barracks, before, living next to a police barracks used to be safe. But now, man, nowhere is safe again. So a dialogue must have to happen. There has to be a dialogue so that they can approach this issue properly and solve the problem. Thank you very much, guys. It has been an honor discussing with you guys. It's been an honor. Let me know in the comments if I got anything wrong. Let me know. Okay, I'm not perfect. Some of these things I said, I just read it online, and I'll keep you guys updated. Make sure that your notification is turned on my video so that once I publish a video, you get the alert. All right, and don't forget that I have a website where I sell courses, business courses, tech courses. If you have younger ones, you know, as long as they're above 10, above 5, they can use a laptop at all. You get, sign them up for tech courses. Don't wait till their age before they will start learning technology. They have to grow with this thing so that by the time they are 15, to 20 years. They are so good that they will start inventing. The guy that invented Bolt was like around 20 years when he invented it. Bolt, this taxify we use now, the billionaire, was around 20 years. This YouTube we're using, the guys that invented it, they were young then. I think they were teenagers too. So. Also, thank you very much. I'll put the link in the description and in the comment section so that you guys can go and check it out. See you.